All right, everyone. Here, with head coach Luke Walton. We'll start with James Ham.
Hey, Luke, now that we have confirmation that you're back for another season, just what do you want to accomplish this summer? What do you want to accomplish next season with this team? And how happy are you that you're going to get that opportunity to go into your third season?
Yeah, this offseason, like I've been saying the last few days, this offseason is huge for us. We're very excited about the progress that a lot of players made this year in different stretches of the season, as far as the way we played as a team, is something to really use to motivate us to take that next step. And that next step has to happen this off season. So, what I mean by that is we can't wait until the season comes around to start finding our rhythm again. We need to be in the gym, in the weight room, working on concepts, offensive concepts, defensive concepts. And I think we have a group that will. I really, I love, the work ethic of these guys and the fact that they want to win. And, it's already, 2 days and, Tyrese has been in this gym both days in the weight room, on the court shooting. Harrison was in here yesterday. Maybe he beat me in today. I don't know. But, we have guys that are already talking about, look, we're prepping for next season now. So, it's the culture you want to see. It's the type of work you want to see. James, it's going to be a huge offseason for us.
And Luke, almost to a man, all of your players that we've talked to so far pretty much have backed you 100%. Just what does that say about the relationships that you've developed with them and also the culture that you're building there in Sacramento?
Well, it's a culture of togetherness. We have each other's back. Nobody gets all the credit. Nobody gets all the blame. We're in it together. And together, we're gonna start winning again. I know that takes time and so you want it right away, but it's just, sometimes it happens faster than others, but if you have a group of guys that are on the same page and working together, it's gonna happen. So, I love hearing that. I expect to hear that, whether not just about me, but about each other too. That's important to us as a group. So, like I said, the culture is working. The habits are being built, and now it's about continuing on that path to where that starts leading to more wins, and then that leads us into a chance to get into the playoffs.
Sean Cunningham.
Hey, Luke. I was just wondering, I know these are private conversations that you have both with the front offices and the players as these exit interviews and such, but I'm just wondering from each individual, like from players in the front office, maybe you can shed light on just what encouraged you most about those discussions that you have as it pertains to the future here.
The thing that's encouraged me the most is everyone is ready to take that next step. You can feel it. From the conversations and what we need to work on, the awareness of what we're bad at and where as a group we can make strides. Like that's all there, and everybody's committed to it. And that's exciting because when a group is together and working towards one goal, great things can happen. So it's like we're all there. I know people are going their separate ways. We're going to be in constant communication with them. Coaches are going to be flying all over the country for guys who are out of town. And then we got a good amount of guys that will be in town working. So it's like I said, it's exciting. We have a lot of work to do. We got a long way to go. But I believe we're on our way.
And then as you look for yourself, 2 years here now, and obviously having the ability of hindsight and things of that nature, just as you kind of move forward, what's maybe a resource or I don't know if it's the right word there, but what do you need for yourself and your staff to kind of take you guys to that next level?
Well, I think the most important thing is we continue to be consistent. I've talked to my staff about things where we can get better at as a group. I'm not going to, that to me is more from a personal staff meeting room where, I'll individually meet with all my staff as this, off season goes. But we've already done one full staff meeting. We'll do another. We have another one on the books tomorrow. And there's things as a staff we can definitely do better, and we're gonna address those and work on those and come back better ourselves.
Marshall Harris.
Hey, Luke, I'm just curious because obviously you've been coaching for a while now, whether it's your experience, I guess, most successful experience with the Warriors and the Lakers and now here. Just has anything majorly changed, just your, maybe not philosophy, but the way you go about your business based on the varying degrees of success that you've had?
I missed the first part, Marshall.
I was just asking about, because of your coaching experience and having different degrees and levels of success, depending on where you've been, whether it's the Warriors, the Lakers, and here, has there been anything major change? Maybe philosophically, but maybe not philosophically, just in the way you go about your business in your learning curve as a head coach?
Yeah, absolutely. You if you're not learning from your experiences, then you're wasting opportunities. And I think one of the big things I've really experienced and felt is the difference between coaching and playing on different caliber teams now, and where we are along that path and what's most important. And for me right now, what's most important for our group is habits, behavior, work ethic, togetherness. And I felt like we made a lot of progress with those things as the season continued to go on. And when that becomes just part of how you perform every night, then start to put more focus on the nuances of the game, the details, the counters to what we're trying to do offensively if they're taking something away. But until you have a group that's trying to get into that playoff race, until you establish some of those core basic ideas, a lot of the higher level schemes and play calling, that's not as important as it is for some of those top level teams.
And just following up, because you said that, and because we've heard so much just from Monty just a little while ago, from your players as they've talked about it, and you through the course of the season, the issues on defense, and as that went across the season. When you look at it now, is it more for you at the NBA level, guarding the best offensive players in the world? Is it more of a habit thing, an effort thing, or a scheme? I mean, what do you look at as being the main problem when teams have stretches of bad defense, like you guys, obviously, where you finished league wide at the end of the season?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit of everything from the defensive end with those things that you talk about, because part of it is habits, right? Like we have terrible habits as far as we open up and give up direct line drives way too often to have a consistent defense. So that's a habit. Now, some of those times that's a bad habit from one player, but from another player, it might be an effort thing because they have a better habit with that. The schemes are normally what I found is like, if you have the right habits and you're playing with the right effort, the scheme is going to be good enough. And, sometimes at this league, you play great defense and offenses are still going to score on you. But we have to, what we have to do is be able to guard the ball better and protect the rim better. And those are two things that when we did that well, we won games and our defensive numbers weren't awful. When we didn't do those things, unless we were going to score 130 night, we weren't really giving ourselves a chance to win. So, on ball defense and protecting our rim are two things that our players know are going to be really big. And it's tougher to work on defense in the offseason, but you can work on it. You can watch film. You can get stronger. When you're playing pickup in your local gym, you can really engage in the idea of working on those things. So, that's where we're going to make a big jump.
Jason Jones.
Yeah. Hey, Luke. One of the things Harrison talked about was, maturity, accountability, kind of some of those things that come maybe with experience. Just where do you see the group in those areas in terms of holding each other accountable and having the maturity to implement the things you're talking about as far as the discipline and the habits?
Yeah, we're getting better, Jason, and Harrison's absolutely right with that. And it is getting better. It's not where it needs to be, but it's definitely on the going in the right direction. And players, there was great moments this season when it was happening, and that's natural when you're kind of empowering players to engage in that. That's not comfortable. It's not easy, especially for when some of your best players are your younger players, to speak up and talk to older veterans or your team as a whole night in and night out like that. Now, we did have some very nice moments when that did happen. And that's where we're going to continue to push them and continue to empower them as players to really embrace that ownership.
I think De'Aaron mentioned today too about kind of how hard it is to play at that high level. He was twice player of the week, but to stay at that level is really tough. What do you think he learned about just staying at that level and how to maintain that? What he put it was, when I'm not great, I still got to be good. And I can't just drop off too far on those other nights. Just what do you think you learned from the effort on both ends of the court to stay at that level over the course of an entire season?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's one of my things I'm most excited about De'Aaron is his awareness and his, his intelligence of the game and just, how it's played. And for him to gain that experience and to gain that knowledge of like, oh, okay, this is me playing at this level and this is how hard it is. And now this is, when I do slump off a little bit, only he can answer that question. I never got to that level as a player. So it's, for guys that are special enough to be able to do what he can do, they have to live through that. And then that has to motivate them to be like, listen, that's, you hear players talk about all the time with the playoffs. Once they get there, they're like, I don't ever want to not be here again. And it's the same. So you go through that as a player individually and you're like, I'm at this level right now. That's where I want to live all the time. Now, how do I motivate? What does it take me to do this offseason to give myself a better chance? So the fact he lived through that and got that experience is great for him and for us as far as the future is concerned.
Tony Harvey.
Hey, Coach Walton. Just getting back to you being retained, and I just want to, when did you know that you were going to be retained? Before the season was over, after the season was over, and what was the conversations like with Monty? If you could spell that out for us too.
Yeah, I mean, I keep my conversations with Monty private, but I was under contract, so I wasn't asking. I told you guys before I was confident I wasn't going anywhere. We have a job to do, and I'm going to always focus on what I feel is best for the team, and things that we as a team and coaching staff and players can control. So that's where my mind and my focus is at. So I was under contract, and I expected to be here, coaching and working with our guys this offseason. As well. So, during the season, that's where my head is at, and that's where my energy and time is going to.
Well, obviously, rhetorically, winning victories is, about the bottom line here. But what expectations other than, we talk about the defensive scheme, the culture of togetherness, what other expectations Monty have coming from you going into this next season that he'd like to see?
Going into next season, the expectations. Like, look, we know, like this, we know what the drought has been, and we know what our goal is going to be going into the season, and that's to make the playoffs. And now that's where it's, I'll bring it up now. It's, the off season is good to have these bigger goals out there. But it's like I said all the time during the season, how do you achieve the bigger goals? You have smaller goals and you work on those every single day. And that's where you keep your focus at. So, for the off season, our big goal is, yes, going into next season, we want to make the playoffs. Our best chance to do that is to work our tails off every day on the details of the game. This offseason is to watch the playoffs, to watch these teams, what they're doing, the anger of losing, not being part of this, using that to motivate. And that's where our effort and energy will be for the offseason, or needs to be.
This makes sense.
Hey, what's up, Luke? Obviously, it can be challenging when the person who hired you is no longer here, but you've had some time to work with Monty now. What has that relationship been like working with him, and how has that evolved since he first arrived?
Yeah, it's been good. It's hard because it's, you're hired by a certain staff and you have a relationship with that staff and you're in that together. So that part is definitely a challenge. And Monty and I didn't know each other at all when he took over. And like any relationship, your trust is earned and built. And so it took us both actively engaging each other, talking every day on the phone if we're on the road, meeting in person. And as the season went, that relationship got good. And it's a healthy relationship where I don't mind telling him anything, and he doesn't mind telling me. And we understand what our jobs are and what our roles are. But that is, to me, that's the best type of working relationship you can have. And it's like I said, it's in a good place. And I think we both trust and respect each other, and we're both committed to the same thing, which is building a winning team here in Sacramento.
And I know this could change based on personnel, but ideally, what do you want this identity to be, and how do you get there?
From what standpoint?
From a perspective, defense? Like if people are coming to Sacramento playing the Kings, what do you want them to know they're walking into when they take on your team? And
I mean, I think you felt it a little bit this year, and it didn't end in wins a lot, but like there was a lot of we had our fair share of stretches there, but there was a lot of coaches that were coming up after games and telling me, like, your team plays hard. Like you push it defensively. They're they're competing, and that's what we want. And now we have to get better at some of the execution and whatnot. But that's what we want. We want that. We want anytime you get done playing us, it's like, dang, that was a battle. That was really hard. They were pushing the ball down, pushing the ball at us all game. Defensively, they're up and into us, and I think offensively we did a better job this year than that defensively. But there was times throughout the season that defensively we did give that type of energy out there. And it was good. It was good to see. But yeah, that's what we want. We want people being dead tired when they're done playing us.
Jason Anderson.
Luke, good to see you today, sir. I've kind of asked you about this before, but I'll ask again with the team's defense. Your defensive rating in those last 13 games was 9th in the NBA. But it's been such a struggle for really 2-3 years here. So again, when you look at the core, how come the core group here hasn't been able to lock in and play that kind of defense when you can just put this patchwork group of guys together for 13 games and they can play some defense?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're looking at part of it is, the core of what's being built here is a lot of young players. Mm-hmm. And young players normally figure out offense a lot sooner than they figure out defense. So, you start playing vets like DeLon and Mo with length and understanding of, and two guys that a lot of what they've done in this league is because of what they do on defense. Then your defensive numbers are gonna start to pick up. I think, also with that, D Jones having that some more size in there and him getting more comfortable with what we were trying to do scheme wise helped. And for some of the younger players, part of it is your body naturally takes longer to mature and to fill out. You're trying to figure out what the league is still. There's a lot of different schemes. There's a lot of different tendencies of players. Like I could go down to Mo Harkless right now and ask him about any player he's covered in the last 8 years. And I'm sure he would know all of his tendencies. With young players, you might know some of the kids you played against in college, and that's about it. So some of it just, Jason, comes with time and strength and understanding on that end.
Was it just sort of personnel that allowed you to kind of pressure the ball more late in the season? It seems like we saw more of that late, and it worked for you.
No, honestly, I thought we did a better job of it. We had a meeting in Utah, and we lost the game, but we came out really, and we took the coaches out, and the players kind of did their thing, and watched our previous game together. And I thought that was kind of a big step for us, because it was players only talking about what we need to do, what they need to do better, as far as on the defensive end. And we came out and got off to a really good start in that Utah game. I think we were up 10 or 13 early in Utah. And I thought like that was a good point, a step for our group. And that's when we were still healthy, and we were still playing those same guys. So, from there was some nice moments, some bad moments, but I really think like that's where we started getting into the ball more effectively, more of the time. And that's a big point for us going into next season, is our pickup point and constantly being up into the ball on defense, Jason.
Just a few more. We'll go to Jim Conlon, RCB Sport Ireland.
Hi, Luke. I suppose the NBA draft last year was very kind to the Sacramento Kings. You got, in a number 11 pick, you got a top 5 player, really, in Tyrese Halliburton, who should have gone an awful lot higher. How important is going to be the draft this year in terms of that? And is it more, you're looking for a more center, a big man? Because you have Buddy, you have Tyrese, you have Fox in the backcourt. Are you looking for a potential Jamal Wiseman or someone like that in this year's NBA draft?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Where this, the draft is big for us. It's a big part of, for us building. You look at the guys, from De'Aaron and Tyrese, and what it can mean when you draft like those guys. And what I can tell you is I don't know where we're picking. I don't know who's going to be available, and that Monty and his crew got it right for sure last year. And I have all the faith in them in the world. When we start to get to where we're at and what players are available, I always give my opinion as, what I think the type of person we need, but they've been watching these guys all year. The scouts have. So we let them do their job, and we trust they'll do it well. And that's up to the front office and the scouts to make that pick.
And I suppose, Luke, when you see franchises like the New York Knicks have the season they had, and no one was expecting it in terms of finishing in the playoffs so high up, does that give belief to you when you see all these super teams have been put together, like the Nets and the Lakers, for example, that if you get your groundwork and homework right, there's no reason why you can't be the New York Knicks next year?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's basketball, and everyone that plays in the league is good. Now, there's some teams that have multiple stars that it's going to be a lot smoother for them to get there. But yeah, I mean, it's why you go out and you play the games. It's the Knicks are a great example of what can happen. When you're playing as a team and with a purpose, and so I think that's a great example of where teams can go without multiple superstars and still have success. And I think that's what we're building here, and we're the path that we're trying to get on as a group.
Matt George.
Hey, Luke, a couple things. First off, I was hoping for some clarification. You mentioned the goal being to make the playoffs next year. Is that by any means necessary, including the play-in, or is that like shooting for seeds 8 through 6, or does it matter?
Yeah, we want to be part of the postseason. I'm not. If we're in 9 or 10, I'm not going to sit here and be disappointed. Like, our goal is to be playing meaningful games. I mean, all games are meaningful, but in part of the postseason, which is the play-in as well. And
then one of the things you've talked a lot about, I know you mentioned defense is tough to work on during the offseason, but you've brought up physicality at many times this season. Is that something that is possible to work on during the offseason? Is it more of a mental thing? Is it a weight room thing? How do you work on improving physicality during an offseason?
Yeah, there's different ways. Weight room is a big one. Sign up, take some boxing classes. I've seen players and teammates do that. You can do. There's mental training you can do. Where there's lots of apps out there. So there's different ways to train and to get bigger, to get stronger, to feel the contact. There's different ways to improve on that.
All right, just a couple more. Scott Marsh.
Coach, just wanted to follow up with Rashawn. Obviously, you had a lot of confidence in him when he came to the team, putting him into the starting lineup, and he earned it because he had 2 really good seasons here. I know it might be a little bit more for Monty, but I just wanted to get your perspective in terms of the priority and importance of bringing Rashawn back. Yeah,
I love Rashawn, and you're absolutely right. He earned it, and he's had a really nice 2-year stretch here with us. Especially if you look into those close games, what he does for us, whether it's offensive rebounds or switching on to big time players and getting stops for us. He's been great. So that's definitely a front office question. But Monty knows how I can tell you I feel very strongly about Rashawn and what he means to our team. But they're clear they got more than they have a lot they're looking at number wise and all of that. So I give them my opinions. They make the decisions.
Crystal Saltis.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
Good.
Great. I would like to ask you, speaking about the potential and the progress of that team during the second half of the season, especially, what is the biggest takeaway for you, and what would you like to build on that?
Well, we want to build everything. We want to. You talk about the consistency a lot. I think Jason touched on it with De'Aaron. Like we want to be good, and then when we're having off nights, we don't want to drop down that low. Like we have to be more consistent of a team. And how do you do that? We get better at rebounding. We get better at guarding the ball. We get better at defending without fouling, so that there's not just these waves that we're going through. But yeah, we'll look at everything again this summer. We'll go through all the tape again, and then we'll really continue to hone in on like what's most important to our team, what are we best at, and where do we go into next season, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
And also, is there any specific moment or any specific reaction that made you said that this team have got it, or the future is bright for that group?
Yeah, there's a lot of examples, and I've given them, there's De'Aaron and the winning Western Conference Player of the Year of the Western Conference Player of the Week twice this season. I mean, that's not easy to do that in the West. I mean, the West has got all NBA everywhere, and like for him to do that twice is really exciting. The play of Tyrese, a rookie that had a week of prep, going into his first season, and what he did, the type of season Harrison Barnes was putting together, watching Buddy play make and get 7-8 assists multiple times down the final stretch of the season as other guys were going out. Marvin before he got hurt in that Charlotte game and the progress he was making. Like these are all things to me as a coach I'm very excited about, and are great to build around.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks.